Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new mini-series from Hulu, Candy. And this is from creators Nick Antosca and directed mostly by Michael Uppendahl, who has directed 2 of the 5 episodes, has previous work with like Legion and Mad Men and American Horror Story. And this focuses on the story of Candy Montgomery, who's an 1980s housewife and mother who did everything right, but when pressures of conformity builds within her, her actions scream for a bit of freedom until someone tells her to shush, with deadly results. And this is starring Jessica Biel, of all people. I remember when this came out, I'm like, okay, Jessica Biel. Because, like, I haven't really seen her much in a whole lot of things recently. And I'm trying to think, like, the last thing that she was actually in that I probably have seen. And I'm looking at her IMDb, and it looks like she's done, like, Pete the Cat stuff, and then she voiced herself in BoJack Horseman. But realistically, not a whole lot in terms of in front of the camera in a long time. And now she's playing this character in this true crime-based miniseries, which this aired over 5 nights on Hulu in a week. And it's the kind of thing where it's just like, in a vast sea of so many true crime-based kinds of miniseries and TV shows, it's something that doesn't really stand out much amongst the pack. It doesn't do a whole lot besides, like, there's some visual flair to it. There's a couple of sequences of interesting storytelling, especially in the last episode where you kind of hear Candy's perspective, and Biel does a really good job in this series and stands out a lot. But it does fall into all of the little tropes that you expect. And it does have an interesting cast. Melanie Lynskey is someone who never gets any attention, but she's a really fine actress, and she plays Betty Gore, her neighbor, who winds up being murdered. You have Pablo Schreiber, aka Master Chief himself, who gets some moments of shine here. Timothy Simmons plays Jessica Biel's husband, and one particularly interesting appearance in this series as one of the cops just so happens to be Justin Timberlake, who's Jessica Biel's husband. And I feel like it hits on all those elements. I was definitely intrigued and drawn in by the first episode. I think it does a good job of building tension and suspense, and it built intrigue in the setup in that first episode. And I feel like it kind of dips into a lot of cliche and things that you might expect from this kind of story, and then it kind of pulls it back up again in its final episode where I feel like it stands out. But in general, I do feel like it's at best at the beginning and the end, and kind of droops a bit in the middle, but it is pretty consistent from a tonal standpoint, from a direction standpoint, and you do have some strong performances from Biel and Lynskey and Schreiber and Simmons and Simons, and you just feel like, okay, I've seen things like this before. This is a strong effort. It's, if you like these kinds of stories, I think it'll engage you. But, like, if you're tired of this just ridiculous amount of influx in these kinds of stories, I don't think this is going to win you over. But I do think it has some strong elements and might be worth checking out over on Hulu. But those are my thoughts on Candy. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.